So, monarchies, a thing of the past, right? Actually, wrong.
Wrong.
Turns out there are still 6 or so absolute monarchies left in the world, depending on who you're asking. These include Brunei, Saudi Arabia, Swaziland, Oman, Qatar, and Vatican City. So on today's episode of Pretty Cool, I guess, we'll be talking about monarchies, and why they don't always last. If you didn't already catch this, these countries give complete and unchecked power to their rulers, including this guy, ruler of Swaziland, now known as Eswatini. These 6 may seem like a lot, but that number does seem to shrink when you consider that just 100 years ago, there were 22 in Europe alone. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, wait, what about England? Although the British royal family is more popular now than ever, according to the 29 million or so people who tuned in to watch the most recent royal wedding, this family's power is always put in check by the British Parliament. So, unfortunately, this family's power may not be as legit as some of you thought. This brings me to my next point. If there were so many just 100 years ago, the question has to be asked, where did they all go? Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, duh, the answer is simple. People got tired of a fancy guy with a fancy hat sitting on a fancy chair telling them what to do, so they decided to try this hot new thing called democracy, where they didn't have the threat of getting their heads chopped.
6.5 hours later.
And by saying all this, you'd be right. Sort of. See, who's to say that someone down in Australia, technically part of the British Empire, says, we don't like this, and decides to be done with the British Empire? What's the Queen gonna do about it? Fight a war thousands of miles away? The answer is yes, and that doesn't usually go over well.